It's AP here. Okay, welcome back to Crazy Town MVP. Yeah. Dude, thanks for your time, man. You made it out here. By the way, guys, this is a friend of mine, Rick. Both studied aeronautical engineering at the Vets University, and yeah, we came out without any scars, right, Ricky?
Without scars.
Without scars, bro.
I'm scared.
Anyways, guys, welcome back to Crazy Town MVP. We're here to talk about smart cities. So, Ricky, man, one of the things that I really want us to circle back and talk about is, we've been seeing the development of smart cities around the world. We're gonna have one by 2030, hopefully, right? If the government does not mess this up, we will be having a smart city, people, by 2030 in South Africa, in a little small city called Syria. But I want us to first define what smart cities are. If you were to define it to anybody, really, how would you go about defining it?
You want me to go first?
I want you to go first. Yeah.
Thanks for having me. For me, a smart city would be like a city that's mainly built based on connectivity. In the connectivity of Internet of Things. Your smart or your efficient management. Mobility. Yeah. I think the core of smart cities would be the Internet of Things. That would be like my definition of a smart city. I don't know if it's not a solid answer, but yeah. What does smart city do?
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, smart cities, as actually Rick has mentioned, AI-driven entities that are extremely clean in terms of energy usage, but also they're very energy efficient. So there's little to no energy loss basically in the process, right? Well, not that energy's ever lost, right? But there's no energy wasted, let me put it like that, right? As you mentioned, Internet of Things, that's what smart cities actually ought to do. They ought to be able to integrate different technologies together.
Exactly.
With technologies that are foreign to each other, by the way. That is technologies designed by different companies. You have to come up with a smart city is a city that can use all of those technological leaps and advantages to its advantage, right? To bring about, as I said, a more sustainable environment with little to no waste, zero carbon emissions, and ultimately high, good quality of life. But from a perspective of benefiting the country though, how do you think something like this could benefit a country like South Africa? Or even maybe African countries, just in terms of socio-economic, from a socio-economic aspect?
Yeah, I think we're gonna definitely benefit from smart cities. I think everybody's gonna benefit in terms of the efficiencies that the smart cities will bring. Imagine instead of having, let's say money-wise, if things are gonna be built efficiently in terms of operation, let's say your electricity, you have your smart devices that will save you some couple of bucks here and there.
Man, yeah.
So everyone is gonna benefit from this. Within a smart city, you don't have to earn a huge sums of money for you to have a quality life.
So a smart city ought to be built around human beings, for sure. And if you don't do that, in all your systems, you're gonna end up with no city actually in the next couple years because people won't wanna move into your smart city. One of the things that I like about this is that the government here in South Africa specifically, guys, is looking into ensuring that they subsidize the cost of living in smart cities so that the middle class people can actually occupy some of these places in smart cities.
Smart cities are going to be incorporating everybody, so it's going to be easily accessible to the lower class, middle class, and the super rich.
What do you mean by we're going to have all classes accommodated? Do you mean we're going to eradicate poverty entirely?
At some point,
sure.
It's gonna, we're all gonna be living within smart cities. That's what I'm saying.
Got you.
Yeah.
The social side, the social aspect of the human factor in smart cities. How is that going to affect humans in the long run? I think that people who are building smart cities are going to be smart enough to realize what's going on now with the human social aspect, because humans become less social, and that's becoming detrimental to their long-term psychological stability, right, or mental stability, or even emotional stability actually, right? It takes a toll on that. if you become less social. So what I think people who design smart cities will do instead they'll go, okay guys, we need to have a center within smart cities that encourages people to be social. I think that's if you're really gonna have a smart city, you ought to have that element. If you don't have it there, man, I doubt, because people want to be social at the end of the day, to be honest with you, Ricky.
Yeah.
People want to be, they love being social. If you were to go to any fancy square right now, Melrose Arch, okay, here inside, go to Cape Town. Go to Cape Town! If you guys have never been to Cape Town and you want to go to Cape Town. But what I'm trying to say is, you cannot design a smart city if you really care about the human factor or the human element in any smart city. You always want to incorporate the social aspect to it. There's something called the Gini coefficient, but what he does is it measures the disparity between those incomes from household to household, and it comes up with a number. And if it's 1, it means all the wealth within that country is owned by one person, right? Obviously, there's different metrics that different countries use, but do you see that number going down or up in terms of inequality with smart cities?
There's 2 ways that things can turn out.
Yeah.
The first one is the way things are happening with your blockchains, your cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
We are trying to things are
decentralized
things.
So wealth.
Exactly. So I think things should be decentralized. So but that's the best way, because now the power will lie within the people. The other
way things could turn out
is that we would have, I think I've seen some couple of sci-fi movies where you have this guy owning the smart city or something.
So that's what you mean by it could go either way.
Yeah.
It could go up or down.
Yeah.
That's what you mean by that.
Yeah.
By the way, do you know about the smart city called the Line they're building out in Saudi Arabia? So the idea is that you're going to build a line that is about 170 kilometers in length, 200 meters wide, and about 200 meters tall. And you're going to build a smart city within that line, within that box.
Oh yeah.
You've seen that, right?
I've heard about it.
And it's quite smart how they came up with the idea. What I saw from the images when they said they were going to build that line, I know it's going to become a reality because Saudi Arabia is Saudi Arabia. Moving on to the next question, Ricky. How much more dependent on AI do you think smart cities will be?
Well, I think for smart cities to function, they're going to heavily depend on artificial intelligence.
That's where AI is good at, actually, and keeping tabs of those various tasks that become super gigantic to you as soon as you start giving yourself time to. You want to have your systems built in some AI automation platforms or automated platforms. You want it because automation is actually going to be a big part of smart cities as well. It's going to be automation, Internet of Things, AI, machine learning. These 4 things make up a smart city. Well, they make up the functional part of smart cities, right?
Yeah.
This one is a bit tricky. Do you think there are any negatives that come to your mind when you think about smart cities?
For me, it would be the social aspect. Yeah, we can have like your holograms or all these things to interact with people, or we can have these platforms or systems to interact with people, but the way things are going right now, I'm seeing us being more of loners, staying alone in your apartment, efficient apartment or whatever, your smart house or
I don't have actually any negatives regarding smart cities, to be honest. The smart city that I have in my mind is the epitome of smart cities.
Is it utopia?
It's definitely utopia, but here's why I really don't have any quirks or negatives around smart cities. That depends again on the architecture around. You see, the architects that are building that, they have to bring in the human element. If you look at old Italian structures, right, or even European buildings, how they were built and set up, they were built so that humans can socialize with each other. So it's how we design and build buildings. So it has more to do with architecture than to do with smart cities themselves. Smart cities aren't going to be smart cities because because AI is running everything. They're smart cities because there's a human element to it. Architects have to come up with a way to encourage human socialization. I think there's a way to design buildings so that you see more people and get to actually talk to more people. There's a way you design things. Malls today are not designed to encourage socialization or socializing. They're not. Even at Woolies, it's not designed to encourage socializing. It's just designed so that they can take more money from you, essentially, at the end of the day, right? That's how it's designed, to take more money from you. They don't care about your social aspect, right? So what I'm saying to you is smart cities ought to think about this before it's too late. Last question in, what would be the most effective or efficient transportation means of getting around smart cities for you?
Smart cars, I think.
Running on what?
I don't want to focus on running on what guys yet because
Okay.
new technologies might match. So I don't want to say batteries and then you find out then they can improve the hydrogen powered cars or I don't know.
But from a practical standpoint, based on what we have now, do you think we need cars in smart cities? Based on what you know about cars now.
That's a tricky one because whatever mode of transport that's gonna be there, it has to be smart. It has to communicate with other. Let's say maybe it's cars. They have to think on their own. They have to communicate with other cars. They have to, so that we can avoid such things like your traffic congestions and all that. I'm thinking when it comes to cars, and one thing that history has showed us that when things get bad, the population is gonna skyrocket.
Yeah.
So imagine now.
Yeah, exactly. Actually,
it's gonna be a smart city. Let's say maybe you won't acquire like a huge land to base your smart city on.
Yeah, of course you won't.
So imagine now trying to get around, even if the car is smart, but if it's millions of them within that short space, how are they gonna maneuver around? So
that's the thing.
We're definitely gonna need some, I don't know what, but some.
You see, town planners, right? Architects, engineers, thinkers. If they can get around together and decide, hey guys, how are people gonna get around this freaking city? If you're living here, that's why I'm saying town planners are important. You want to design it such that there's no need for me to go 170 kilometers across to get something. You design it such that where people are, things come to them. The point I'm trying to make is that AI is going to allocate people based on their profiles, right? But it has to allocate them based on because people have preferences. Let's say preferences, Ricky, maybe not profiles. It's going to allocate people based on their preferences.
Yeah, I think that's a nice way to put it.
Yeah.
Not profile.
Not profiles, yeah, because profile is it implies something else, doesn't it? Yeah, I know. So the AI system ought to allocate people based on preferences, right? Not profiles, right? And then say, okay, Ricky prefers A, B, C, D, and E. Based on these 5 factors, right, or 5 preferences, I'm going to allocate him to this point within the circle or within the smart city, so that everything goes to Ricky efficiently. But the point is, you want to get rid of cars or anything that's going to bring about any carbon emission within the smart city.
It seems like this guy has solutions to it.
This has been quite a long talk, and it seems we both have a lot to say actually about these topics, but yeah, I'll see you guys when I see you guys. First of all, thank you so much to Ricky for expressing himself out here. He's a bit of an introvert, but he decided to come help me out shoot this video. So props to you, man. Props to you, bro. And keep it up, man. So yeah, you guys, subscribe, like the video, and share it if you liked it. So you guys, we'll see you guys. Damn it!